So I am very humbled to come before you today to receive the honorary doctorate, and all I can say is thank you. Tom, you probably didn't have this figured out in your fact-checking, but I actually took a class here at Grand Valley in 1981. And so after 37 years, I'm just happy I'm not still screwing up the 6-year graduation rate. So I love Grand Valley and the way the faculty and staff invest in their students. Led by T. Haas and Provost Chimitilli, they are the secret sauce that generates the student success we are known for at GVSU. We see this success in many ways, like the 100% pass rates we see in some of our professional exams. I also want to thank my colleagues on the Board of Trustees. I have learned from each of you, and I have really enjoyed our interactions on doing our part for the best for Grand Valley. Today, we are all graduates of an excellent university, and I think we should recognize the faculty and staff of GVSU for their work in helping all of us succeed. So I graduated with my bachelor's degree 39 years ago, really that old. I learned a lot from my undergrad experience, but my best higher ed experiences actually came later as I understood the need for more education. In light of my work experiences, I actually went back in my 30s to get executive ed at Harvard and to Michigan, where I got my master's degree in my 40s. After my undergraduate, though, I learned my best lessons through doing, in what I call baptism by fire. I can't always say I recognized what I was learning in those moments. It was only often upon reflection that I was able to see it. Like many of you here, I paid for my own college. And for me, that was attending the University of Detroit, where I could live at home, work, and I received scholarship money. I actually switched my major from engineering and science to business so I could graduate in 3 years, saving the 4th year of tuition. When I first started work, I thought I had a great salary working in a public accounting firm, but I had to pay for a car, rent, my student loans, and somehow still have money left for fun. I'm working hard in my career when at the end of my first year, I get a letter from the public accounting firm partner where I worked, and he was asking for money from my alma mater, University of Detroit. The partner was an alumnus, and he sent a letter to the grads asking them to consider a gift. No pressure here. My new boss asked me for a donation, and I just started paying on my student loans. Now, for me, the ability to part with money was certainly not something that came natural. But in this letter, the partner talked about a giving group called the President's Cabinet. So I called the school, quite frankly, to find out how much the partner was giving. And just to date the story a little bit, I think I used a rotary phone. And it probably took a week to receive the letter and a booklet in the mail. When I finally reviewed the book, it was a list of members, the who's who of Detroit, where I lived and worked. The minimum membership to the group, which supported student merit scholarships, was $1,000. One of the details the partner had mentioned was the firm would match our gift. So it would take me $500 with a firm match, which was 3% of my salary, and at the time, one heck of a lot of beer money. Well, I made the investment. And today, I freely admit, this had nothing to do with investing in others. I was being very strategic. And I strategically went to all the events where I was clearly the youngest person in the room, other than the students receiving the scholarships. Although not for the right reasons, what I learned was I could deeply give and still live a very good life. I will tell you that lesson was what we would call in my faith providential. For me, it was the start of investing in others. and I have come to appreciate the importance of investing in others more and more ever since. As I look back, this critical lesson in investing in others was probably key to my involvement at Grand Valley. In early 1981, I was transferred to the firm's Grand Rapids office. This was a great time to be in West Michigan, as the region was just starting to bloom with investments from people like Rich DeVos, Jay Van Andel, and others. Because Grand Rapids was a fairly small city, I was able to get to know these people, and they became role models for me of how to contribute to the community and invest in others. Shortly after moving here, I went to work for Autodye, which was a client of the firm. Joe Spruitt, the entrepreneur who built Autodye, was involved in Grand Valley State University's early engineering program, which was still housed in the Science and Math Division in Allendale. I became Joe's representative at some of these early meetings where they were talking about establishing a Bachelor of Science in Engineering and moving the engineering department to its first home in Grand Rapids. Through this involvement, I met President Don Lumbers. I actually got to do fundraising calls with Don. He might remember those. And a few years later, and I tell you, he was amazing at asking people for money. This was also a critical lesson, though, in building community. And there are few better teachers than Don Lumbers. When I went to work for Joe Spruitt at Autodye as the chief financial officer, I was only 23. I was lucky to have a fair amount of gray hair, and Joe thought for a long time I was 30 or over. And as a result, I was given unbelievable opportunity for many unique experiences in this rapidly growing business. My job was to find money for Joe's vision, usually after he had committed to spend it. This included taking the company public and a whole bunch of things that I had absolutely no experience with. So this all required the willingness to learn while doing, which I have referred to above as baptism by fire. Despite some of my mistakes, this company grew 500% in 5 years. After I was there a few years, we had a growing division called AutoCam that was losing a lot of money. I was given the task of fixing and selling this small division. My experience was in finance, not manufacturing. So although the boss, I had to be in learn mode. And I spent most of the time on the floor learning from the machinists, technicians, and engineers. I was able to learn that by improving process quality, we were able to dramatically cut costs, and the great people I learned with saved that business. I accomplished the second part of the assignment when Joe helped me buy AutoCam from Autodye in a leveraged buyout. So at 29, I became the majority owner and entrepreneur running this $5 million manufacturing business with roughly 50 employees. From this experience, I learned another very important lesson, the lesson of surrounding myself with bright people with skills that I do not have. By investing in the success of these skilled people, you can create an organization that can do really great things. I also will always be grateful to Joe Spruitt as the man who taught me the many lessons on how to be an entrepreneur. And he also gave me my first big break. Most of my lessons have involved learning by doing, and not all of them have come from positive experiences. In 1998, I bought a company in France, and although initially a success, my lack of business and cultural awareness caused us to lose huge amounts of money, enough money that it nearly bankrupted the whole enterprise. From this experience, I learned the importance of understanding cultural differences and local market awareness, which has allowed us to be much more successful in other new market ventures which we've opened in places like China. So despite everything I did, the company that started with 50 people and $5 million in sales was able to grow to $400 million in sales and 2,500 people globally. In spite of the challenges and crisis, we were able to achieve great success because we invested in really good people, and we are constantly learning, analyzing the market for changes in technology and global economics. We know this change in technology is coming very fast. The Institute for the Future, a group of technology, business, and academic experts, predict that 85% of all jobs that will exist in 2030 have not been invented yet. So I have developed a few tactics that we use in order to help prepare for an unknown future. Every year I spend a week at Harvard with a group of company presidents from around the world. It's really a diverse group. It's less than half of the people from the US. And we discuss cases on countries and businesses. And I get great insight from this diverse group of people and the HBS faculty. This global environmental scan allows me to bring new thinking to our work and will often result in us making huge shifts in investments in human physical capital to focus on new opportunities. A great example of this was in the late 1990s, where we moved the focus of our investment between two totally different product lines, personal computers and environmentally friendly fuel systems. In the late 1980s, we started making parts for mechanical disk drive storage. By the mid-1990s, we had nearly 100% global share for this product, which went into personal computers. And it represented about a third of our business. All this product was made here in West Michigan and shipped to Asia. So we were shipping to China and low-cost countries. At one of my Harvard study sessions, I started hearing about this new type of memory storage called flash memory. The prediction was that by the early 2000s, this would be most of data storage. This new technology was electronic, so there was no mechanical parts that we could produce on that. I came back, certainly all concerned about what we were going to do when we lost a third of our sales and our most profitable business. Well, fortunately, we saw opportunity in other areas in these lower emission fuel systems, and we're able to focus human capital and investment in that area. And as it turns out, it took a lot longer for that flash memory to actually grab share, but we were prepared and we were able to continue to grow employment and opportunities for our employees. Most of you won't ever have lessons like mine, but every day you need to make decisions. And others are making decisions around you, decisions that affect your future. Continuing to engage in learning is key to bringing yourself and others along the road to the future, whether in business or any other field. This is certainly true in our educational system. In third grade literacy, Michigan is ranked 35th in the country. And in our technology-driven future, this is really bad news. My wife and I are investing in early literacy to attempt to help address this challenge. When solving problems, one of the things we've learned is that you've got to get to the root cause of an issue. And that can only come from studying and learning. We are working with 3 schools that serve students from economically disadvantaged homes who have some of the lowest outcomes for reading by the 3rd grade. In examining how to help our children, we know we will not be able to eliminate poverty. We had to ask a deeper question. How does poverty affect how our children learn? We learned that over 75% of the adults on government assistance read below the 3rd grade. So our children in these schools start kindergarten significantly behind because they are raised in low literacy homes. The reality is supported by research that shows a significant gap in oral vocabulary heard before children are 5, with children raised in high literacy versus low literacy homes. We have learned, despite this research, the standard system of K through 3 reading instruction is designed for students coming from high literacy households. Our program is designed to address these deficits, provide clinical development in this method to our teachers, and we are seeing results. By empowering teachers in effective methods, we can teach children from low literacy backgrounds, providing a path out of poverty. We certainly are not there yet, but we will continue to invest because all our children deserve a bright future. I have been truly blessed with my college education, and now you have been blessed as well. You are the academic elite of America today. I would end by saying, the world is not a perfect place, waiting to hand you a perfect job. No, it is a place filled with opportunity. But each opportunity has corresponding challenges. Yet by continuing to learn, invest in others in your career and in your community, you will live up to the proud title of Laker for a Lifetime, and I'm honored to join you. Congratulations, graduate. God bless you and your families, and thank you.